Okay, so as I said, Becky and I have known each other for a very, very long time. Becky was here she retired in January of 2021 after 39 and a half years here at NASA Langley. And she retired as some of you might have been involved with Becky. She retired as the manager of the Center's Proposal Development Office. So as proposals, especially in the science arena, very heavy in the science arena, you would have been working with Becky's group to get those proposals off the center. And one thing that Becky has really loved, especially after retirement, but also prior to retirement, is plants and nature. She is great about planning trips. I mean, you want to go to the most picturesque places, get on Facebook with Becky, and Becky lays it out and is great about that. But in all those, it's a lot of going to places where there is nature, there's camping, there's things like that. It's just not going to, Italy or anything like, things like that. She gets down into nature. And so what she decided to do in 2022 was to join the Master Gardeners, the York and Poquoson Master Gardeners. And with that, it is part of Virginia Tech and also the Virginia State University. And what you do is you get 50 hours or at least 50 hours of training. But then with that, you give back at least 50 hours of community service. And you would think, okay, that's it. Then she's the master gardener and you don't do anything else. But what it does is it is a commitment for every year. And for every year, you have 8 hours of training to kind of keep your skills up. And then you do at least 8 hours of community education. So with that, Becky, thank you for coming. And there you go. I think your charts are up.
Okay. So as Kathy mentioned, I retired in January 2021. I have always wanted to take the Master Gardener training. I've wanted to take it for years, but before COVID, it was Wednesday afternoons. So obviously I'm working, I couldn't do it. After COVID, they went to Zoom. And so I was able to take it once I retired. Okay, so Master Gardeners, who are we? Okay, so we are trained volunteer educators who work with communities regarding anything of a horticultural nature. Okay, plants, 4-H. I'm going to go into all kinds of the different things that we do. We're an educational outreach component, as Kathy mentioned, of the Virginia Cooperative Extension, which comes out of the land-grant universities, Virginia Tech and Virginia State University. Okay, all volunteers. We have 50 hours of classes. We meet, and I have a slide on this, we meet every Wednesday evening. Once my classes start, I have to give back 50 hours of volunteer community service. I was considered an intern until I finished my 50 hours, and then I got to be a real master gardener. Okay, so you're an intern, and then you're a master gardener. Then every year, what I have to do is go and complete 20 hours of service back to my community and 8 hours of continuing education. So you're always keeping that training up. Okay, this I found on the internet, especially this, I had not seen it, and I thought it was really, really interesting. But if I go to the top, there are 108 county and city extension offices throughout Virginia. In our training, Newport News, Hampton, Gloucester, York, Poquoson, and Matthews candidates are all trained together. Okay. Now there are other units like in Gloucester, over in Virginia Beach, etc. But as far as on this side of the water, we're all trained together. There are 5,500 active master gardeners throughout Virginia. We contribute 350,000 volunteer hours. And then you can see this is all of the US. Volunteer hours is hitting about 3 million. So it's a substantial amount of money if you correlate the volunteer hours to what we provide and if you put a cost on it. Okay, next one. All right, so training, it's open every year. It's from early May to early July. The cost is $185, and what this includes, you must have a background check because you're working with children and you're working with the public. It's a 12-week class. They run late August to late November. The class this year actually starts next Wednesday. We do have a cute little graduation ceremony afterwards. You get your real badge, and you get a certificate. And then we also, during that training, we have in-person, hands-on Saturday field trips, pruning, learning gardens, a trip up to Brent and Becky's in Gloucester, which is a wonderful place to get bulbs and all kinds of very knowledgeable couple up there. Okay, advanced training. I have not gotten to this point as far as me being a master gardener yet, but some of the folks also go on to do advanced training. There's advanced training in tree stewards and water stewards and land stewards. Okay, so if you want to be even more advanced as a master gardener, you would go and take this advanced training. And I believe it's an 8-week training, and you must have a project at the end. You must present your project, et cetera, et cetera. This advanced training is offered by Virginia Tech on a 3-year rotating basis. So for example, this year now they're doing water steward training. Next year will be land steward training, and then the following year will be tree steward training, which I hope to take. Okay. All right, so what do we do? Okay, we're all trained up. Now what do we do? Lots and lots of stuff. And I had a really hard time trying to scale what we do back to this presentation, but I think I caught the gist of it. Also, I'm York Picosin, but I tried to look at all the units that we train with and look if there are any activities that are coming up in any of these 5 areas. So the first thing we do is learning garden. Every unit has a learning garden. York County Picosin, we actually have 2. One is on Goodwin Neck. The other one is in Picosin Avenue, and some of you may remember Noel Talcott. Noel runs the one in Picosin and does a fantastic job. It's a sun garden with a trail. I walk my dog there. It's just beautiful. He does a really good job. Gloucester has a learning garden at Beaver Dam. Hamptons is at Bluebird Gap Farm. And Newport News is at Riverview Farm Park. This is also a wonderful garden, dog run, trails. It's just a beautiful area, but they're all very nice. These take a lot of work to keep up, with weeding and planting and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of time is invested in these learning gardens. All right, let's see. Next is the help desk. So every unit has a help desk. I have some magnets on the round table near the door with the phone numbers of the help desk to the various units, and the magnet includes Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, and some other areas if anybody's interested. But basically what this help desk does is people call in. They call in or they send an email and say, my tomatoes, we get a lot of tomatoes and potatoes. My tomatoes have blossom end rot. They're rotting on the bottom. What do I do? What's wrong with it? Help me out. We get a lot of what's the best plant for this area. We get a lot of insect ID. We get a lot of weed ID. Anything related to horticulture, we get it. Okay, so help desk is a big part. Soil testing kits, you can go to your extension office and for $10, take a soil sample from your yard in 5 different places, put it in a box. It gets mailed to Virginia Tech. You will get back a really nice analysis of your soil and what you should do if you need amendments like lime or nitrogen or what have you. Outreach events. We do a ton of this. Festivals. We'll have a booth at the Picosin Seafood Festival. Farmers markets. We're always at Yorktown. We do lots of children's programs, expos, community gardens. We do a lot with 4-H, rain barrel workshops. Newport News does a lot of rain barrel workshops. Vermiculture, which is worms. Okay, worms are fantastic for the soil. So if you want to grow worms, okay, we even teach that. Horticultural therapy, this is really neat. This is going to retirement facilities and rehabilitation facilities and helping people with stand-up gardens and things like that. Let me go back one real quick, Kathy. This one, and I tried to put some of the things that I knew were coming up. This is Gloucester. It's a Gloucester on August 24th. It's a Saturday. They will have a Master Gardeners present native plants. So native plants are the big push, and those are plants that are native to this area, and they grow wonderfully because they're happy here. So a lot of push for native plants. Okay. 4-H I mentioned, we have a lot of schoolyard habitats, which means elementary school, middle school. I think there's actually even one at the high school in Becosin. It's basically teaching children how to grow plants, get outside, grow some, some simple veggies. We have tons of butterfly gardens. The children get to see caterpillars go into a chrysalis, turn into a butterfly, and they're fascinated by it. It's really cool. We also have, and I'm picking on York Becosin because I know it the best. We also have community gardens, and these are gardens that folks can rent per year. If you live in an apartment and you really want a garden, okay, this is how you can do it. There's one up in Lackey, and there's also one off a 17 10 by 12 plot for about $15 a year. And then you have the master gardeners who run it at your disposal to help you with your plot. Okay, all right. We work really close with these folks. We also get a lot of bee calls. Okay, the bees are going to get me, and I have bees in my ground, and what do I do with this swarm, et cetera, et cetera. So the Colonial Beekeepers Association is run, our contact is Nate Bronner. He is an expert in bees. You can describe it, and he'll say, that's a bald-faced hornet. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, when we get the bees, I get bee questions, I go to Nate and I say, give me some info to talk back to clients on what they need to do with their bee issue. Okay. This is a really cool program. This is actually going on now. It's called Healthy Virginia Lawns, and it runs this month until August 22nd. We have a team led by a guy named Pete Peterman, who actually with his team will come to your lawn. They will do measuring, they'll visit your site, they'll measure, they'll take a soil sample. Let's see if I can get my memory. Then they'll come back to you with a certified nutrient management plan. And when I first saw one, I was actually very surprised because it was about this thick and it was extremely detailed. I may even have them come to our house. I mean, that's how detailed it was. And so what they'll do is they'll recommend if you need nutrients, you need lime, whatever you need. And they'll answer any questions. There is a cost. It is $20. That basically pays for the sample to go to Virginia Tech, to get your analysis done, and also for Pete and his team to keep up on their certifications. So that's what that $20 pays for. Okay, this is a biggie for us, plant sales. Lots and lots and lots of plant sales. And this is also a lot of work, almost as much work as the learning gardens. But this is the main source of income for the Master Gardener units. I tried to pick a couple that I knew that were coming up. We actually have one on this top left that's going to be in Becosin, September 28th. You can get some awesome plants at a very inexpensive price, $2 to $5. I mean, they're all donated. We donate them. We go and dig stuff up in our yard and we donate to the sales. So there's one coming up in Becosin on the 28th. Newport News, which is the second picture over, they have theirs on September 7th and 8th. They are fantastic sales. Here's Gloucester is over September 13th through 14th. My only advice is to get there early. I did the York Becosin one back in May up on Goodwin Neck. It opened at 8. People started lining up at 6 with their wagons. It's because there's such a huge push now for native plants, and we have a huge section of native plants that you can also get Yorktown onions, and that's a big draw. You can only get one, but you can get a Yorktown onion. But anyway, people line up really early, but they're just such a bargain. Okay. Other things, we do a lot of children's programs and teen activities. This one is coming up. This is at the Picosin Learning Garden. It's Fairies and Friends. So, young children, grandchildren can come. They dress up as a bug. They can dress up as a butterfly. It's crafts, balloons, temporary tattoos. The beekeeper group that I just mentioned will be there. Another one we have coming up, which is this Thursday, is Plants Are for the Birds. Teaches children about plants and birds. That one I pulled on the right. That's from Bluebird Gap Farm. They also do things like pollinator days. Like I mentioned, we did 4-H. We just supported the 4-H camp in Jamestown 2 weeks ago, I believe. And then Safety Town, which a friend and I just did Safety Town. It's basically like a summer camp for kindergartners, and you go and you teach them about poison ivy. Leaves of 3, let it be. Okay, so stuck in my head forever. Okay. All right, so that's all we do like in outreach. Okay, so now what I did is I focused internal to our unit. And like I said, I'm the York Picosin unit. We actually have a really good time. It's a wonderful group. Okay, it's not all women. All right, we have a lot of men. We have some who have been with the group 20, 30 years. You have people like me who are kind of newbies. Then you have the new interns coming in. So it's just a very eclectic mix of people and knowledge and smarts, which is one of the reasons I just love it, because I learned so much. But we do lots and lots of things. We go to study trips. I didn't go this year, but the group went to several gardens in North Carolina. It's like a 3-day trip. They take a van and they drive and they look at the gardens and they come back. It's really neat. Spring garden tours, we find some private gardens and we kind of go as a group and run all over everybody's gardens and check them out and talk to the owners. We have monthly Master Gardener meetings up at the Yorktown Library. We bring in speakers for our continuing education. We've had some really interesting folks there. We serve as mentors for the new intern class that's coming up in a couple weeks. We have a newsletter. Virginia Tech sponsors something that they call Master Gardener College. That's about 6 days in June, where we go to Virginia Tech. We stay in a dorm. We listen to speakers. We come back with a lot of freebie plants and all kinds of cool stuff. I've met so many people that way because it's all of Virginia. And then we also have holiday parties and picnics. All right, this I wanted to put in here because it kept popping up as I was putting my slides together. And it really is true. And it kind of ties into what Angie is going to present to you guys next, is the health benefits of gardening. And I couldn't believe the amount of research that has been done on the health benefits. So of course it's physical activity and exercise. Okay, you're pulling weeds, you're lugging things around in the garden. Hand strength, I can personally speak for that. I mean, my hand strength, I cannot believe the difference just, of gardening. It's been pretty amazing. Cardiovascular stress, boost your mood because your serotonin, you're happy, especially when your native plants do really well. Lowers blood pressure and increases vitamin D. You're out in the sunshine, getting some fresh air. Provides social connections. Just like I mentioned on my previous slide, us as a group do all kinds of really neat things and learn from each other. Sense of accomplishment, that is so true. When your tomatoes do well, you're like really happy about it, okay? Stimulates the brain, that's for sure, because you're always learning, okay? And then therapeutic benefits. And this I thought was really interesting when I was researching some of this. I mentioned for the disabled and seniors, and there's a stand-up bed that is at one of the retirement communities, I believe. And they also, back in the day, had therapeutic gardens for prisoners. They helped calm them down, gave them something to focus on, a little bit different. So there's my sources at the bottom. Okay. This I just put in here because I know you get a copy of the slides. These are some contact information. Facebook here. They all have a Facebook page, website, and/or email. Now, Matthews had a Master Gardener group. It kind of dissolved, but they're trying to bring it back. So that's why there's none there. And there's not a lot of information on Matthews quite yet. And that's it. So thank you.
Any questions for Becky? Wes, yell, come forward and yell a little bit more. Or, yeah, use the mic, please.
Oh, all right. So not so much a question, but a shout out. There's a symbiotic relationship between a lot of the master gardeners and scouting. And a lot of the youth have to have a service project, and quite a number of the master gardeners have to have a project. Well, guess what? It works really great if we marry them together. And there's a number of folks in here involved with scouting. Please be aware that if you reach out, it really helps.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I remember reading something a couple months ago that the Girl Scouts may even have a gardening badge coming up, which I thought was perfect for us to get in, for the children's activity. Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, yes, Dick.
Who do we contact about the lawn program? You mentioned that where they'd come out and do your stuff. Is that
Yes.
on one of those magnetic things? Is it
Yes.
contact?
So grab one of the magnets on your way out. Call the York. Are you York Pocosin?
York.
Okay, just call the York Pocosin. Say you want an appointment for the Healthy Virginia Lawns, and they'll hook you right up.
Okay.
Okay.
Got one more question. You got any ideas on how to deter deer from eating your flowers and tomatoes?
We get that a lot. I could stand up here all day and talk about deer. It's very hard. Now, I shouldn't say this because I know we're on a time crunch. I'm not supposed to say this because what I'm supposed to tell you is supposed to be research-based and approved by tech, okay? But I can tell you at the Pocosin Garden, Noel puts the soap in a bag and it works. I've put garden fence, they just jump right over it. It's very hard. We've even put little spikes that flash and make a beep. They walk right by them, okay? So it's very hard, but maybe try Noel's soap, even though I'm not supposed to tell you that. Yes. Yep. Same kind of thing. Fencing and up. I don't know about soap for the rabbits, but it's worth a shot.
I got a question. Yeah, I live in a neighborhood. There's several gardeners in my neighborhood, and I noticed on some of the gardens over there, the plants got a lot of seeds on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just wondering, do you deal with the master gardening program with seeds, plant seeds?
You mean as far as like a swap or
Yeah,
picking
swap
them,
or give them away or whatever. I mean,
Um,
some of the gardeners over there actually give away the seeds.
I'm sure they do. And I was gonna say, if you wanted some, they more than likely would not have an issue with you saying, can I take some of your seeds? Now, what we do is at our monthly meeting, if people have extra seeds, they bring them in and they put them on the table. And
Oh,
then at the meeting, we go and take whatever we want. So, but yeah, if you have seeds or any seeds that are donated to York Pocosin, we take for the community gardens and the children's gardens. So if you had a plethora of seeds hanging around and you said, I don't want these seeds, if you take them to an extension office, they will take them right up for those other purposes. Okay, all right.